Hey, I'm Al McGee with YETicket.com. Well, I'm here with two of the stars and the writer-director for the film, The In-Between. This is a very exciting film, but I'm gonna let Jennifer Stone and Mindy Bledsoe talk about that with you, my audience. And I just want to say hello, Mindy. Hello, Jennifer.
Hi.
Hey,
Thanks
Ala, how you doing?
All right. Well, let me start off with you, Mindy. You're the director, you're the writer. Tell us a little about the film.
Well, the film is about two best friends who take a road trip across the American West while dealing with some emotional baggage and some health issues. Yeah, that's the story. It's pretty basic story.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, very nice. Look at that transition.
Hey,
Very nice.
Like
You're more
that, huh?
tech savvy than I am.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, well, Jennifer Stone, you played Mads Olsen,
Mhm.
and Mads had a few problems. Well, more emotional problems about her mom and things like that. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
So Mads is going through, she's balancing a lot of different things. And the title, The In-Between, comes from these two characters finding themselves between one place in their life transitioning into another. And so where Mads finds herself is not only is she balancing the daily challenges of having type 1 diabetes, just like, Junior is balancing the challenges of CRPS every single day. It doesn't define them, but, they're finding themselves in between these issues of Mads trying to figure out, how she feels about her relationship with her mom and rectifying that
Right.
relationship, and Junior rectifying, the mourning of her sister who passed. And so it's all about kind of mourning what you thought life was going to be and then moving on and closing that sort of transitory period, and how the road can be a really healing place.
Oh, yeah, I saw that with you two characters or you two ladies in the film. But Mindy, let me ask you about the names of the characters. Your character is called Junior, and then Jennifer's character is called Mads. What is there a meaning behind these names? Tell me something I missed.
Oh, no, there isn't. I really just thought Mads is an awesome name. And then there's Mads Mikkelsen, who worship. So I just really like the name. And then for Junior, I really like for the character, I wanted a name that was almost masculine, but gave this like air of like, what? Like, is she a junior? Is it JR? As in, like, is she a junior of her mom? Or did someone really name her Junior? Or is that a
Right,
nickname?
right.
Yeah, that's just her name.
Oh, just her name. Oh, okay, yeah, because I was saying must be some secret to these names, Mads and Junior.
But I love that you're thinking about it. There's always something underneath the surface.
For me, like I always, like when we were writing this, I always thought that those names sort of like nudge the audience to think about where they come from. You know what I mean? So like Junior thinking about whether it relates to her, to like a senior. And then Mads, being short for Madison, and her mom wanting her always to be really girly, and Mads being, more herself, and how she sort of rectified her own identity versus who her mom wanted her to be. So like that was to me what those names meant when we were writing it. But I know, like, even the artists can have their own interpretation, just like the audience can.
Yeah, the artist can, and I had it also, but since I have you here, I can ask you that, and I'm so
Perfect.
glad that you gave me an answer to that. Now, Jennifer, Portland, and Mindy, you all going to Portland, and what was so special about Portland? I know what is special in the film, but why Portland for the film?
Oh, because we'd never been to Portland.
That's the simple answer. I mean, I think it was something like we both had talked about, because we wrote this movie. This was supposed to be our vacation. Like, it was my 2 weeks off I love your back. You're so on it, Al. This is great.
Oh, thank you.
Mindy was going to go on vacation, and I had 2 weeks off from nursing school. And so instead of taking vacation, we wanted to create something. And so you know, if we're going to create something, why don't we join getting to explore a place we've always wanted to go? So that's how we kind of wove Portland into the movie, is because that was a place we always wanted to explore.
Yeah. And we also, we knew we were going to go to South Dakota because our cinematographer, Rob Sinska, is from South Dakota. His family is there. So we knew we were going to be able to shoot like at the salvage yard. That's, we knew we were going to get to shoot there because his family owns that land. So we were like, why would someone be in South Dakota and then Portland? And, you know, so we just kind of took all of these little bits that, like, we had to go to South Dakota. We want to go to Portland. How do we make it up in between? So that kind of prompted what road trip these two characters would be taking.
Yeah, I saw that. And also one of my ex-wives was from South Dakota.
Oh,
oh,
so
Lord.
I said, oh, I can relate to this a little bit. Now, Mindy, as the filmmaker though, and you know, we went through 2020 and things like that, you know, it takes people a couple of years or 3 or 4 years sometimes to get their movies completed and then to get their movies out there. Can you tell us how much work it took you to get your film out there?
Oh, well, this was kind of a whirlwind. We wrote it and had pre-production for a month, and then we hit the road, filmed in 14 days.
Well, before that, how long was it on your mind to make this a real conception, or make this conception become real?
Well, I hadn't shot a feature film. So as a director, I hadn't made a feature film. I'd only done short films and I'd only produced feature films. So as a director, it was on my head that I had to make a feature film. It was bothering me. That was it. That's the only thing that was brewing in my head. This story and this movie were so serendipitous, so kismet. Everything fell into place that we never could have truly planned for. So the story grew so quickly. And we wrote it so quickly, and we shot it so quickly. And then, I mean, it was all within under a year that we had pre-production, production, post-production, and then we premiered. I mean, it was in in 11 months, start to finish.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's not bad at all.
No, that's pretty quick. That's record speed. So yeah, and then it's been on the festival circuit since May of 2019, and we're actually still playing right now. Like, we're playing in a Boston Real Abilities Film Festival right now. So we've been on the film festival circuit for almost 2 years, which is crazy. Now we're going to be on VOD May 18th. So you can buy on Amazon, iTunes, Vudu, and we're going to have pre-sale links for our Blu-rays and DVDs, because Jen and I did an amazing commentary that.
Oh yeah, I gotta hear that.
Yeah,
you gotta. It's basically like a second road trip. I mean, it's us like going on the road together all over again. It's a mess. We're a mess when we get together.
A creative mess.
Yes, the best mess.
Okay, Jennifer. Now, your character Mads. Why did you want to play the role? What did you see in Mads to say, "Hey, I can do this because I want to be Mads"?
You know, the two biggest things that draw me to a character or to a story are things I haven't played before, or are things I haven't seen before. And that was my biggest draw towards telling this story, was the fact that I haven't seen a female-driven movie that really portrays correctly CRPS and type 1 diabetes. I haven't seen CRPS portrayed at all, and learned a lot myself making the movie. And then type 1 diabetes, I've seen it portrayed in movies before, like Steel Magnolias comes to mind, but it's always this just like over dramatization of what it's like to live with this. So as far as like being represented as a type 1 diabetic, I hadn't seen anything on screen where I felt truly represented. And so that was important to me, that representation, and to really bring that to the screen, where I feel like it had been lacking before.
Oh, okay, yeah. And I wanted to make a comment about that because a couple of my friends, their daughters and friends, they have type 1 diabetes, and I had a friend to die of it, And I never
I'm sorry.
really saw it like that in a film where you really tackled it and really showed the medications and how to take them and things like that, and how it really affected someone's life in a film. And I'm glad you brought that out. I'm glad you all portrayed that in the film. But Junior had chronic pain, and I never really saw that in the film, Mindy.
Yeah, chronic pain is hard to portray. You know, it truly is an invisible illness, and you know, people have a hard time believing something they can't see. So that's hard. It's hard. It's a hard thing to put on screen, and why we don't see great representations of it. And usually, when we do see representations of any kind of chronic pain, it's very dire and it's very depressing. And as someone who's actually lived with chronic pain for 18 years, my life's not depressing every day. It's hard. It's hard,
Oh,
but it's not depressing.
oh, so this is something you really have.
Oh yes, I have CRPS in real life. Yes, as Jen
Oh,
has type 1 in real life as well. So we knew that these chronic illnesses, these invisible illnesses, needed to be represented, and we were just the people to do that, since we had our own close relationship with these illnesses.
oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you all brought that out and being very truthful in the film about this. This is one thing I really loved about this film. There's a lot of truth in this film. It seems like nothing was really made up, but I did not know that you all was associated with the problems that you were talking about, the chronic pain, the type 1 diabetes and things like that. And is that what you was trying to also do in this film, to talk about truth, to show truth?
Yes. Yeah, it goes hand in hand with representation of it. It helps people. The more outsiders see someone with type 1 working with a needle or taking their insulin, the more common it becomes and the easier the conversation is and the less stigma that's applied to it. And the same thing can go with chronic pain. The more chronic pain patients are advocates for themselves and speak out about what they're going through and what they're experiencing, then we can normalize it for the rest of society, so we can have a better empathy for each other. So yeah, it was a large part of putting these characters on screen so everyone can see that chronic illnesses looks just like you do. And we do the exact same thing. We go on road trips, we make bad decisions, and yet we're still dealing with the same, with an additional thing.
Right.
We just want people to see that and also recognize their friends or their family and themselves in those characters.
Yeah, and that's what I saw. I saw a lot of that because I've known people, over my years of living with suffering from something similar to the chronic pain and the type 1 diabetes. I said, this is really hitting me. Oh no.
Well, and I'm sure you've seen through having those relationships that it doesn't define those people. It's a challenge that, you overcome, or it's a challenge that teaches you something about yourself rather than defining who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love visuals.
Oh, thank you.
Oh yes. That's such a good one too.
Oh, yeah. Eating the ice cream. That was a very good scene. That was a very good scene. Now, the music, I really enjoyed the music because it was different for me. Now, did you know the artist personally, or who wrote the music and things like that?
When we started writing the movie and knew it was going to be a road trip movie, we knew we had to have music. So before living in LA, Rob Sinska and I lived in Shreveport, Louisiana. And that's where we met the band Superwater Sympathy. And we directed a music video for them and we became huge fans. And Superwater Sympathy morphed into Hydrogen Child. And when we started making this movie, we gave them a call and we said, we're making a road trip movie and we need some music because we're indie filmmakers and we don't have the kind of money to pay for pop hits because they're crazy expensive. And they were like, guys, we love you. We think what you're doing is awesome. Please have our whole catalog. And so, I mean, what? That's so great. So they gave us their whole catalog to play with in the film. And that's like, now we have the soundtrack available. And all proceeds go to the band now. So any sales we make for the music, it goes back to the band. And they're not, they're not even a band anymore. They're not making music anymore. Oh. But hopefully we're trying to inspire them to do some more because.
Yeah, let's hope so. Yeah, that was very good. And also Jennifer, your character Mads kind of described the in-between. You said teenager, adult. Talk about that a little bit more, Jennifer. The in-between.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think,
Because I never used that term before, not even for myself. I was
I
a
think, it's
kid and a man.
well, yeah, transition period.
Yeah, none.
No, I just did it. No, and it's funny, I hadn't used that phrasing either until we wrote this. And now I can't seem to stop using it, which feels very funny since, we made this movie together. And to me, it means more than just transitioning from being a teenager to an adult. I think for Mads, that's what her in-between period is. But I think what the in-between is for people is anytime you find yourself moving from one phase of your life to another, and that kind of uncomfortable, anxiety inducing, just want to get out of your skin feeling of like, I just know I'm not there anymore, but I'm not here yet. That feeling of just transition in life and heading from one chapter to another, I think is the in between. And I think it's something that we all go through at one point or another, though you skipped it.
Yeah, I did. I had to. But also, Mads, also, she really went through that mentally because of what happened, with her family and things like that. And she really suffered that because she was in between, because no one taught her anything. No one really made her aware of, hey, this is next.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people that I've spoken to that have had tumultuous relationships with their parents, or haven't been as lucky as I've been, or Mindy have been with our relationships with our parents, that they do kind of have that big question mark when it comes to transitioning from being a kid to an adult, because there isn't that preparation there. And I think that's a big part of what Mads is going through. And I think Junior goes through her transitory in between period in her own way, because I don't think anyone can tell you what it's like to go through losing a sister or going through grief unless they've been through grief before, because grief is such an individualized experience,
And also with the in between, for just the medical issues. For me, there was definitely an in between time of, there was before I got sick, and then there was after, and that there was this in between time of trying to discover who I was with a chronic illness. I'm sure you had the same thing when you got diagnosed with type 1. So it can really apply so many places.
Yeah. Wow, this is a very good film. I'm glad I saw it, and I'm glad to interview you two. And I really enjoyed the film. And I want to thank you for taking time with me, Al McGee, here at yeticket.com. I really enjoyed the film. And also, I really enjoyed talking to you two great filmmakers. And this is a pleasure for me. It really is.
Oh, pleasure for us, Al. Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much. And you said stars coming on VOD May the 18th.
May 18th.
Yes, sir.
I'll make sure I put that in the notes when I put up this video, for sure.
Great. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Al. It was so good talking to you.
Great life and much more success in your life. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Right back at you, Al.
All right. Thank you.
This is your